The bell tolls. The midnight hour is upon us. It's time once again for two internet strangers to discuss the good and evil of the horror genre. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the terror within the Hallow-Holics Anonymous podcast.
I feel like it's time to
make some new resolutions.
Yeah, right. Because the new year is a special
event that only comes around once.
And then it's gone.
Then it's gone forever.
Corey, what the hell, man?
I'm sorry. I just can't live through this episode again. For the last 3 months, I've been trapped recording the podcast today over and over and over again. Then, when it's done, and the axe murderer breaks in through the window, I wake up at my desk again, and I am sick of it.
Corey, don't be ridiculous. Axe murderers are migratory. They never strike the same place twice.
Yeah, you've said that before.
Okay, well, why don't we just
start the podcast? Yeah, okay, whatever.
Hi, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Corey. And this is Hallow-Holics Anonymous, a show dedicated to all things horror and occasionally Halloween again.
Well, come on, we haven't done any Halloween stuff since October, so come on.
Just get to it.
Man. So this is the beginning of season 3, guys. An arbitrary episode number to start season 3 at, because it's the new year. New possibilities.
That means I stuck with something for an entire season. That's impressive for
isn't
me.
That crazy? So, in honor of the new season and the new year and new beginnings and new, we're going to be discussing Happy Death Day and Bloody New Year. 2
movies to ring in the new year that actually have absolutely nothing to do with the new year.
Yeah, that's true. But one of them has New Year in the name.
That's true. Did you know that Bloody New Year had nothing to do with the new year?
I didn't.
Or did I just...
You just said you didn't want to do New Year's Evil.
I did not want to do New Year's Eve.
Which technically does have something to do with the new year.
It does. And had I thought ahead, which I never do, so I wouldn't have, we could have done, I think it's called New Year, New Me. It's one of Hulu's new holiday horror films.
But it's too late now.
Yeah, we'll do it next year.
Well, no, that next year we're doing the It's Alive trilogy.
Oh, that's right.
And actually, Happy Death Day does have something to do with New Year, now that I think about it. Baby New Year? Come on now. Right?
What?
Baby New Year.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
If you want to reach that deep into your pocket for something, that's true.
There's a lot of babies in Happy Death Day. With that in mind, before we get to the Coffin Box.
And Horror Pack. Jesus Christ. I think,
I think we should do a game. Just to warm up.
I agree. And I completely forget what game it is.
Resolutions. Each of us is going to pick 5 monsters for the other person to come up with a resolution for. And we'll go back and forth till we've each named 5 monsters.
Okay.
Dracula.
I feel like Dracula's old, so his metabolism's slowing down a little bit. So his resolution might be to feed on more fit and active people.
People with maybe lower cholesterol.
Lower cholesterol. To not only give himself a challenge and to get some cardio in, but to feed on people who are maybe high in kale, that kind of thing.
Yeah, good man. That's a good resolution, but
yeah,
it's probably going to be a pain in the neck.
I don't think he's going to follow it. Dracula's a little too. I don't even know what that means, but that's what Dracula is. Pumpkinhead.
Oh, okay. Oh, we're talking about Pumpkinhead, not the person whose revenge controls Pumpkinhead, right?
No, we're talking about Pumpkinhead, the beast. Yeah, the giant-headed.
The proper
thingy.
Enunciation is Pumpkinhead.
Sorry, Pumpkinhead.
Well,
what's Pumpkinhead's resolution?
I feel like a lot of times when he comes out to do his rampage and murdervenge, it's in rainstorms or late at night and stuff. I'm sure Pumpkinhead is pretty isolated. And he probably doesn't have that many people to talk to either, given that, when he's not killing, he's in a bag buried deep in the soil, so.
True. under that gnarled tree.
Yeah, so I think his resolution this year is to get out there and meet new people. New people he's not going to kill.
You think he'll, like, join eHarmony or something?
At least Grindr.
Oh, God.
But then
Yeah,
again,
Pumpkinhead probably is into the same sex thing, which good for you, Pumpkinhead. I mean, good for you, Pumpkinhead.
the Invisible Man.
The Invisible Man. So,
He doesn't need to learn to be more transparent. He's already got that going for him.
no, for sure. He's good there. I think that he's probably pretty self-conscious and his self-esteem's pretty low because being invisible, you're ignored quite a bit. So I think, if anything, he's probably going to resolve to sort of work on himself and his sort of relationship with his inner Invisible Man.
Ah.
You know what I mean? He's going to try to, maybe work on his confidence a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, Godspeed, Invisible Man.
Bud from Day of the Dead.
Oh, boy. Bud.
I'm sorry. I know you hate zombie movies, so I had to pull one on you.
No, Bud's gonna be one of the first smart zombies, right? From the sequel who, has that gray mask kind of look going on for him, right?
Yeah, he probably taught the other ones to pump gas.
Mm-hmm. Well, Bud's been working pretty hard to teach himself, learn a lot of things. He's a more civilized Bud than he might have been before. I'd even go to say maybe he goes by his full name, Budwin, nowadays. But he might want to pick up a new skill, something to improve his dexterity, because he's a little clumsy. I think this year Budwin is going to learn how to play the piano. At least a few keys.
Yeah, what's a wine expert called again?
A sommelier.
Do you think maybe he'll become like a human flesh sommelier?
Oh, well, one step at a time.
Okay, fair enough. Do you think being a sommelier is more complicated than playing the piano? I think they're probably both pretty even, actually.
I think it's more complicated in another way. It's not easy to remember everything about wine. Well, you're not going to remember everything about wines. Properly trained sommeliers who pass their tests really know about it.
Oh, I'm sure. As someone who is incapable of holding thoughts in his own head, I couldn't imagine being able to do that.
Yeah, but there's no way Budwin's ever going to be a master somm. There are only a few in the world.
Well, never say never, because he can't really die.
Well,
he's got a lot of time.
That's true, but he needs to at least follow through with this resolution before he can tackle wine, spirits, and human flesh next year.
Okay, so playing the piano. Yeah, I can get down with that.
Okay, so I'm going to give you Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary. I think that her resolution is probably going to be to do more community outreach, especially with young girls.
Or charity work?
Because, yeah, charity work. Oh, maybe not charity work. Maybe like light social work, some psychology work, maybe. Just, being a big sister to these girls that call her forth in the mirror. Because these kids, they're at a pretty young age, their chemicals are all imbalanced. They just need a guiding hand, and she's super old and she's seen it all.
Yeah, you're right.
So I feel like she's got to
reflect on things too.
Clever, yeah. But yeah, I just think that she's got a lot of wisdom to impart on these young girls.
Yes,
so.
As long as they don't repeat her name over and over again, because I hear she doesn't appreciate that.
Yeah, that would probably irritate her. Bud the Chud. I'm fixated on Bud apparently today.
Apparently. You know what? Bud the Chud, he's going to get a makeover. I think he wants to improve his appearance. He's probably going to get one of those
I almost just spit coffee all over my keyboard. I'm sorry.
He's going to get one of those mall deals where you go in, they give you free makeup advice, give you a whole thing. Probably going to have a nice spa day, get a new outfit. He's going to go full on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Yeah, I can get down with that. Like a JCPenney makeover or a Sephora makeover?
Well, Bud the Chud doesn't have a lot of money, so it's probably going to be more like JCPenney.
Okay.
Okay, yours is going to be Turkey.
Turkey.
From Thanksgiving.
Oh, no, I know.
I was clarifying for listeners.
Oh, okay. I think that Turkey's done some really terrible stuff, especially in that first one. Mm-hmm. So I think that he's going to have to work to better himself and how he treats women. I think he needs to resolve to treat women better.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think that.
Find Godable.
That was bad.
Something Turkey would really appreciate.
It was. Yeah. I think that he needs to work on himself. Maybe take some anger management classes and work on his his respect for women and his respect for his son. He's an abusive father, and that's not good. So not the American Werewolf in London, but the American Werewolf in London's zombie friend.
The ghosts that haunt him.
Yeah, but specifically the ghost of his best friend that he was backpacking with.
I think he's going to recognize that his relationship with his best friend is a little destructive. He may think he's helping by coming in and giving him these weird ominous messages in his dreams, but he's not.
I mean, he full out tells him to kill himself.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a friend.
Ultimately, he's going to learn to give people space when they really need it. He's going to back off a bit. He's going to keep one foot in the grave and maybe occasionally one foot in the door. And my last one for you, Carrie.
See, I don't know if Carrie really needs to work on anything. I think that Carrie was a very reactionary. I think if anything, Carrie needs to work on her self-confidence, but I'm concerned that if Carrie works on her self-confidence, that's bad for the rest of us.
That is true.
Because, once she realizes how powerful she is and she's confident in said power, she's pretty much the strongest being in the Stephen King if we're considering the Stephen King multiverse a multiverse at this point, which it is, it's all connected to the Dark Tower stuff. So she's probably pretty close to second only in strength to the Man in Black.
So pretty much not a woman you think should join the third wave feminist movement.
No, I think she should just kind of keep doing what she's doing. Mm-hmm. Just maybe stay chill.
She deserves it. She's been through a lot this year.
Yeah, I think so too. Has she been through a lot this year?
Well, she's through a lot every year.
Yeah, fair enough. She's been dead since like the 70s, though.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Vernon.
Ooh, Leslie Vernon. That is a good one.
I have one for him, but let's get yours out first.
Leslie Vernon is a little bit narcissistic. He really likes to talk about himself. He likes to lead people down these dark, winding paths just for his big show day. He lies and tells the truth at the same time. You know, he's two-faced. I feel like he's wearing a mask half the time when he's talking to people.
You're full of awful jokes tonight.
Leslie Vernon's resolution is to maybe get a little bit of therapy to deal with that. You know, it's never good to cope with that kind of behavior and attitude, and you're really only pushing people away before you bring them back and chop their heads off. You know? Yeah,
no doubt. So I think that he needs to resolve to get the sequel to his documentary out already because it's been entirely too long and I love the first one.
So we just went through all 5 monsters. That was actually a really fun game. We might have to do something like that again sometime.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
But before we move on to the rest of the show, I think it's time for you to discuss two things. Coffin Box, which took its sweet time in coming, and
it did.
The latest horror pack.
I'm going to start with horror pack.
But first...
Oh, you're going to make me do it. Hold on. Let me... Oops, that's wrong. That's wrong, too. Are we there yet?
We're not there yet, Ian. Come on, deliver.
On this... Oh, Jesus. Can I go?
Yeah.
On this day in horror history...
You didn't apply any effects.
Wait, you can't hear that?
No.
Oh, I know. On this day in horror history.
January 1st saw the birth of Frank Langella, as well as the release of Shadow of Dread, Serial Killer Sergeant Kabukiman NYMPD, and Scream, no, not that one, apparently, the one from 1985. Also, the best fact of all, for January 1st, Frankenstein was published.
That was on this day in horror history.
And without further ado, we may resume our Coffin Box and horror pack.
Alright, what did I say I was doing first? Horror pack?
Yeah.
First up, we have The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
That's a decent one.
Father and son coroners. That's nice.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. Enter a world of terror while conducting a late-night autopsy on a murdered young woman in the English-language debut of Norwegian fearmonger Andre, the guy who did Troll Hunter.
Okay, I'm a little intrigued.
Yeah, I'm like super intrigued.
You know, Netflix keeps telling me to watch Troll Hunter.
It's good.
Oh, okay. I'm glad.
I watched it
Yeah, I watched it thinking it was going to be terrible, but it was really good.
Did you see that other troll movie, Tal?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Is it on Netflix too?
I'm not sure if it is on Netflix now, but it's THALE, and there's some kind of accent above the A, but it's really good.
All right, so next we have, this is probably terrible. Like any movie that says from the producers of, it's usually like, hey, this is a crap movie, but watch it anyways. So this is from the producers of Insidious and The Purge, starring Aaron Eckhart and Carice Van Houten. It's called Incarnate. This is the unrated version.
Oh.
Yeah, Aaron Eckhart doesn't really do good movies, so I'm not super excited for this. He stars as Dr. Seth Ember, an unconventional exorcist who uses science instead of religion to tap into the minds of the possessed to remove the demon from their subconscious.
So a psychiatrist.
I think so, but I think this goes further. Like, I think he actually, like, puts his head in their head. I think. Not literally. Like with computers. So when an 11-year-old boy becomes possessed by a creature of unspeakable evil, or a demon as they're usually known, Ember enters the mind of the boy to attack the vengeful demon, but he finds himself facing the battle of his life and horrors of his own past.
So like The Cell.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like The Cell.
Yeah, or a couple of episodes of Outer Limits, come to think of it.
Mm-hmm. See, now the next two are so good and so related to December that I don't know which one I should do first. So I think I'm going to go with Krampus first.
Oh,
they sent me the actual, like, straight up, like, good Krampus. I'm so excited.
Yeah, because there is one on Amazon that's, like, low budget. But
yeah, there's actually a couple of them now. Yeah, Krampus, everybody's home for the holidays. Everybody hates each other and they're all terrible people until Krampus comes and messes up their holiday. It's super good. You should watch it. Was that a good summary of Krampus?
No, super good is stretching it, but it's good.
I don't know. I really liked it. Yeah, I really liked it.
I think it aged better. I think, like, I like it more now, especially now that I'm more familiar with the cast. But I didn't like when it was released because I wasn't in the mood around Christmas time to watch something that was very anti-Christmas.
Oh, I gotcha. I guess because that family reminds me of Christmas with my family.
Oh.
It hits home a little bit and it's good to laugh at. And finally, I'm a little disappointed. This is the horror pack release. They're limited or whatever. It doesn't have the tagline on the front of the box, and I'm sad about this because it's one of the best taglines ever in a movie. And that tagline is, first he's chillin', then he's killin'.
Oh boy.
It is Jack Frost.
Oh man, that is the best horror pack you've ever gotten.
Yeah, it really is. Jack Frost is phenomenal. It's a movie about a killer snowman. That's all I'm going to say. A quipping, mean killer snowman.
I have a really funny story about that, actually. You know, you would think Jack Frost was from Full Moon Entertainment, but it's not. It's from a different company. I think Charles Band was doing an AMA on Reddit recently, Ask Me Anything. And he was like, I'm Charles Band, main producer for Full Moon Entertainment, Ask Me Anything. And I was like, when are you going to do a Jack Frost 3? And he was like, I get that question a lot. And I have no plans of ever making a Jack Frost 3, but you might want to actually ask the people who made Jack Frost 1 and 2. I was so embarrassed because it was also after we did our episode, Terror Vision.
That's okay. I think that, like, guys like that have to be used to comments like that happening. Like, anytime I've ever read an AMA involving anybody in horror or gone to see somebody speak, like, Doug Bradley made fun of one of my friends for asking him to quote a line from one of the Hellraisers. Like, I think it just happens all the time. All right, so Coffin Box. It got here, and this is not Coffin Box's fault. This is Holiday Mail's fault. But it got to me. It took like almost 2 weeks. The box, it looks like it's been kicked like across the country and back, but everything arrived intact. It came with this month's Rue Morgue. Well, this and the November-December Rue Morgue, which is Suspiria. I can't read it until I've seen the new Suspiria, though, because it's got the new lady right on the cover.
You haven't seen it yet?
I haven't.
Neither have I.
But I finally watched Hereditary.
Oh, you did? What'd you think of that?
Yeah. I liked it because I know a lot about, like, that King Paimon is straight out of the Goetia, which is all the demons King Solomon supposedly trapped, as one of my favorite books. So it was neat to see a horror movie sort of involving one of those demons. It was kind of neat.
Mom didn't like it because she thought all the references were so heavy-handed that people who had never seen the movies would just think they were originally from that film, and there were a lot of references.
Oh, yeah, they were really heavy-handed.
And me and her got into a big fight about that kid. Well, needless to say, she was like, I don't feel sorry for it because that kid's not a kid, it's a demon. And I was like, I didn't know it was a demon. It still lived the life of a kid, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I did think that was interesting, too, how they didn't really do a personality switch when he found out he was demon. You know what I mean? He was still, like, apprehensive and afraid of what he was going to evolve into. I thought that was kind of cool. Back to Coffin Box. I forgot what it was called. So they sent out, and this is why I love these guys. They sent out an email specifically saying to be very careful when unraveling the t-shirt. And I thought maybe I'd get a Christmas ornament, something I would never use because I don't really do the Christmas tree thing. But they sent me something I will use.
Oh, boy.
They sent me a shot glass with a jack-o'-lantern with a Christmas Santa hat on, and it says, Halloween is my Christmas.
Oh, nice.
And considering the amount of whiskey I've been ingesting the last few weeks, I will definitely get a lot of use out of that. I'm going to save the t-shirt for last. And the movie this month is a Ron Perlman vehicle called Five Girls.
Oh, I've seen that, yeah.
Isn't it any good?
It's been I don't even remember it, so I don't know if that's a good indicator or not.
I mean, it's vaguely interesting to me. The tagline is 5 girls versus 2,000 demons. Mm-hmm. So the summary is, what the devil has gotten into these girls? We're about to find out. As they attend St. Mark's boarding school, where discipline is strictly enforced, students are strip-searched, routinely punished, and there is no communication with the outside. This sounds like a Linnea Quigley movie.
It does, kind of. Or like one of those really popular, well, not really popular, but like early 2000s witch movies that were exploding everywhere, like on the video shelf, the really low budget stuff that was like set in a convent.
Oh, yeah.
Never had a really good payoff with the plots.
Actually, you're probably right. That's probably closer to what this is. No communication with the outside, but plenty with the dark side. Classrooms are more like covens, and the extracurricular activities, well, when the lights go out, you never know what's going to happen. This is written really poorly, too. Every girl here has a criminal past and a terrifying and anything but predictable future. Father Drake, who I assume is Perlman, and I am right, and the particularly attractive and sadistic headmistress, Miss Pierce, are in charge. The girls are scared to death of them, as well they should be, because frankly, they've let the whole school go to hell.
Oh my god.
This piques my interest. I will definitely watch this. I mean, I say that about every movie they send me, and most of them are still in their shrink wrap.
Okay, so you know what an elevator pitch is, right?
I do not.
Okay, an elevator pitch is when you have like maybe a business idea or a story idea or something to tell to the potential producer, and you're given a minute to tell them to basically break it down. It's an elevator pitch because it's the time it takes from you to get to, say, the bottom floor to the top floor. A minute.
Right.
Well, I feel like movie boxes really should follow that rule, the elevator pitch. If you feel like reading that out loud couldn't convince someone to give their money to you to make it, probably need to rework your description.
Agreed. And that seems to happen. Like the more I've been reading these since I've been doing this on the show, the more I've been noticing that a lot of summaries are just long-winded and just poorly written. Mm-hmm. And it definitely like kind of turns me off to the movies. So
yeah, you don't need to. I don't know why people seem to think they need to give away the whole plot or like go into a page-long detail. Guys, that's why they have pictures on the backs of movie boxes, so you can shorten your descriptions.
But pictures are deceiving as well. I have rented many a movie based on the pictures on the box that have been terrible.
Oh yeah, or like pictures from scenes that weren't even in the film that have been cut.
Exactly. Yeah, trailers could really stand to learn from this too. In fact, the movie we're talking about later, Happy Death Day, the sequel gives away the entire first movie for no reason.
Yeah. Well, that's how movie trailers are nowadays, unfortunately. Like they've been like that for a while, so people are used to it, but I feel like a trailer needs to be at most a minute and a half. And
I agree.
Give us some good stuff. Don't give us all the good stuff. Let us wonder what's going to happen in the story. Don't tell us the story.
don't blatantly show us who's going to die, and don't show us a scene from the final shot of the movie.
Yes.
That happens so often. They just did that with the new the Girl in the Spider's Web, the prequel to the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you they showed the final frames of that movie in the trailer, and it's so annoying. When the world's not quite as terrible as it is, we will get good movie trailers again. Ugh. All right, finally, they gave me a Jaws t-shirt, like the poster. Yeah, dude, it's dope. It's the girl swimming, the logo, the shark. I'm so happy about it. I also got, completely unrelated but still pretty cool, I got a zombie t-shirt as a Christmas present. It's the whole evolution from ape to man and then to coffin to zombie. Yeah. So I thought that was cool. And Lily got me a Star Wars shirt. It was adorable. So thank you, Lily, if you're listening.
That's pretty awesome. I got, I think my parents got me the Ash vs. Evil Dead, like, complete box set with that little pop doll in it. Popco, Funko. And, my brother got me the Blu-rays of the original Fright Night 1 and 2. So, like, that's awesome because he knows Fright Night 2 is my favorite movie ever.
All right. So that is Horror Pack and Coffin Box. Obviously, I will be keeping both as we continue on. I thought I lost my Rue Morgues, so I just tore my house apart looking for them, and I do still. I forgot that I've only gotten 4. Mm-hmm. There's only been 4 coffin boxes, so I only have 4 Rue Morgues, but they're all here, and I don't have to freak out anymore.
This sounds like it was one of your better, like, some of your better stuff that you've gotten.
Yeah, I think so. It felt a bit thin, but I think that's because they didn't put the filler, like those little cards and prints and stuff in there. It was just the shirt, the movie, and the shot glass, which I'm totally okay paying $20 for that amount of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they sent me that, Jason and Michael Myers drinking coffee and staring off together print. It's on our blog. I guess it's okay. It's just I don't find stuff like that funny. Mm-hmm. So I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of lame. So I kind of like that. I would prefer them to keep that filler out and just give me cool stuff, you know?
Yeah, you know, those little cards and tchotchkes kind of collect after a while, and then you have nowhere to put them.
Right, I already have a Coffin Box full of stuff like that from, like, other things. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry that the beginning of our audio sounded so terrible. I have like 5 different microphones in this machine, and oddly enough, the one that my computer chose to use for the first half of the recording is the one on my substandard webcam. So if I sound crappier than usual, that's why. Sorry.
Before we get into Bloody New Year, let's talk about Happy Death Day.
Okay, let's talk about something that didn't suck.
Oh, hey, you're up.
Am I in a dorm room?
Yeah, I folded your pants for you.
Great.
Dude, did you hear that or what?
It's your birthday. We're gonna party like it's your birthday. Drink the party like it's your birthday.
The one they use
That's all I know.
Super helpful. Don't be late to your party tonight. Okay, bye. Bye. Tree, happy birthday.
Ugh.
That rave
Oh,
guy.
that mask.
Hey, you're up.
Just so you know, guys, a girl just like woke up after a one-night stand and then got killed and woke up in the same place.
You sneaky little biatch. Happy birthday.
I've already lived through this day.
Somebody's gonna kill me tonight. So you're getting here now.
Is everything okay?
Shut up! Shut up!
Assuming that I believe any of this is even possible.
Sprinklers? Car alarm?
The way I see it, you have unlimited amount of lives. Unlimited opportunities to solve your own murder.
So I'm supposed to keep dying until I figure out who my killer is?
You want to live to see tomorrow, right? Whoever's killing you knows it's your birthday.
Pretty much the entire school knows.
These are signs of major trauma. You should be dead.
You relive the same day over and over again. Kind of start to see who you really are.
I love that part. Exactly what I would have done.
All units, we've got a 187.
We're gonna get copyright striked for the song.
No, I hadn't even realized that the song was entirely different in the actual movie.
Yeah, for somebody who didn't want people to know that it was her birthday, like, why change your ringtone to blah, 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 my birthday? That's what it sounded like to me.
Maybe someone else played a prank on her.
I don't know. She doesn't seem like the type to let somebody touch her phone.
Yeah, that's true. I've always been a firm believer that the only way to really teach someone a lesson is to execute them. Murder, death. Shoplifting, death. Jaywalking, death. Playing your music in public without headphones, double death. This movie puts that philosophy into practice in the most realistic way possible with our heroine named Tree, played by Jessica Roth, who must do battle with a baby-faced killer on her birthday, or face reliving her life and death on the same day over and over and over again.
I've never agreed with a statement more than you saying that people should learn by dying. That's genius. And probably what's going to be my downfall one day.
So she starts out as a mega, what's a polite way to put this?
Biatch.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, mega biatch. And
there you go.
Much like the progress of anyone through the levels of purgatory towards heaven, she gradually becomes at least a somewhat better person, though still not a good person.
Which, again, is something I love about movies like this. Mm-hmm. Like, she definitely did learn to be something else. But yeah, she's not a better person. And I'm so stoked for the sequel because we get to see just how terrible she remains. And I just love it when the heroes don't learn as much interpersonal nonsense as they should.
She's so damn fun. I mean, she's just chewing the scenery. This actress is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. If I was allowed to swear on this podcast, I would state that she gives no Fs.
But since you can't swear, you can't really say that.
That's why I said Fs.
I remember when I first saw the trailer for this, I think it was when I went to see Hereditary, and I just remember being so completely, just overwhelmingly stoked about seeing this, because even the trailer looks fantastic.
Yeah, see, I saw it out of my periphery and I wasn't into it. It wasn't until I actually paid attention to it, probably almost a year later, that I'm like, wow, this looks really good. I'm kind of into this.
And, it's from Blumhouse, which, frankly, has single-handedly revived the genre over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
As a production company, they've been just churning out and encouraging such stellar film production.
I think all those Hulu holiday horror movies are Blumhouse, too.
Are they?
Saying it like Blumhouse sounds like a gross sex thing.
Well, Blumhouse.
I like Blumhouse better. Blumhouse says that sounds like something degrading you do to someone else.
Well, at any rate, they definitely were one of the production companies for Get Out, which everyone has, of course, hailed as one of the best horror films in decades. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's still a good movie.
I found it very unsettling and enjoyed it. I definitely wouldn't. I'd put it maybe in the top 10 of the decade, but that's not saying much for this decade.
Yeah, I don't like to rank movies really because I find that one day I'll like 5 movies and another day I'll like 5 different movies, It's still a good
my
one.
top 10 changes weekly.
Yeah. Right from the beginning of this film, there's some fantastic establishing shots in the open to really give you multiple threads to follow in the film for the characters' interaction with people, and that's absolutely a must for any Groundhog Day type film. And combining Groundhog Day.
You made the Groundhog Day reference quicker than the movie did.
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. It's the only thing I could really make an allusion to here.
Oh, it's all good.
And I've seen a lot of Groundhog Day style films over the last few years because it seems like it's become a very popular trope. It always has been, but more on TV than film. I think
I'm having trouble thinking of other films that did that.
Well, there was one on Netflix about a guy who, every time he had the big O, coin a phrase, the day would reset.
Oh, I don't think I saw that.
It's funny. but it's kind of, I don't even remember what it was called. It was a Netflix original. It's still up. And, there's the 12 Dates of Christmas, which, yes, may be a Hallmark Channel movie, but it is one of their best Christmas films.
That explains why I haven't seen any of these movies, because they're all crap.
Shut up. I just think bringing horror into the Groundhog Day trope was a good idea, and it worked.
I agree.
And the mascot is creepy.
Oh, yeah, terribly creepy.
In fact, the mask got progressively more disturbing each time you saw it. And I swear it looked dirtier and dirtier.
Yeah, it kind of did. I can't tell if that was maybe a choice or... I mean, it would have had to have been. Mm-hmm. Or if maybe we're just seeing things because it did get increasingly more violent as she repeated her days.
Which, hey, I'm all for it. Now,
as am I.
It doesn't have the obvious design choices implying it's an homage, but this film really did have some fun story structure that reminded me of an 80s movie. And by 80s movie, I don't just mean Groundhog's Day.
No, I think that's another reason I loved it too. And that's also because it played with that whole trope of 80s movies where the main character goes through this intense period of normally 24 hours, sometimes up to a month, where they come out of it on the other side a different person and a better person. She did not do this. I'm totally down with that.
Hey, she learned how to have a real relationship, hopefully.
I like that she did kind of have that I'm going to be a good person day. And had that moment with her father and talked to everybody and changed lives for the better and then died again and erased everything.
It still did not work. That's a slight spoiler, but it was funny as hell. Oh my god, that 16 Candles reference, really?
That was great. I'm so glad you got that.
And I was glad it didn't end there either. It was perfect that it did not end there.
Yeah, I would have thought it was over had I not had a little bar telling me that there was still 15 minutes of movie left.
I would have been really disappointed if it ended there, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the director, Christopher Landon, actually wrote the screenplay for Blood and Chocolate, as well as Disturbia, and all of the Paranormal Activity sequels.
Huh. I've never seen any of those. Well, I think I saw Blood and Chocolate.
Okay. Paranormal Activity 1 is good. Part 2 is okay,
saw that.
But it's better if you watch it right after Part 1. And Part 3 is even better if you watch all 3 of them in one sitting. I haven't seen past that.
That's a lot of found footage.
Well, you get into it when you're hanging out with 5 friends, and maybe y'all have had a little to drink. I'm just saying, it's a fun night.
How's the key finger one?
The what?
The key finger one.
Key finger?
Yeah. Paranormal Activity. I have a key on my finger because I'm a ghost.
That wasn't in Part 1, 2, or 3.
It's in one of them. It's key finger.
There's 5 of them.
Well, then it's 5.
At any rate, I did some research on the lead actress, Jessica Roth. She had a part in La La Land. Couldn't find much about the guy who played Carter, Israel Broussard. But hey, there you go. I haven't seen La La Land, but I'm sure it's good. All I know is I want to see her in more stuff now.
Yeah, me too.
Now, were you paying...
I think he's going to be typecast as a nice guy forever. He's just got the look, but and then not that kind of nice guy, an actual nice guy.
Mm-hmm. The best friend.
Right. But I dug him. Yeah, he's what a ducky is now.
Of course, if you think about it, Ducky's kind of bitter.
Yeah, maybe Ducky's a nice guy, a bad nice guy.
But he dresses well.
Right, he
nice
does.
Nice guys don't really dress well. They just copy tropes. They think a fedora kind of works for the look, but no, it doesn't. At any rate, what were your favorite extras? Is there any extra that stood out to you? The small character?
Yeah, the glam guy, the sort of David Bowie, velvet jacket, Rod Stewart haircut guy. He did nothing in the entire movie, but I loved him.
Her.
Yeah, he was probably my favorite, rando in the movie.
I loved, in the frat brothers group that were doing that hazing at the beginning, the guy in the Bayfield t-shirt, because whenever she, did her nude scene, everyone else was shocked, and he just looked totally unimpressed.
I'm gonna have to watch that part again. I didn't catch that. Oh, when she catches that dude with the pillow and gives him his little goodnight kiss, that was the cutest thing ever. I love her so much.
So great. One of the best final girls ever.
Definitely.
I do love, though, that the injury is carrying over into the next day or the next several days. It's a nice little butterfly effect kind of touch.
Agreed, but I'm wondering, and I was thinking about this as we were watching the trailer, I'm wondering if that's going to fully carry over into the next film, because it seems like it's not very sustainable considering she's already gone through, what, was it 16 days at the end of it?
Yeah, something like that. A lot.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how sustainable those injuries will be if they keep with the lore. And I'm totally okay with them just abandoning something that was important in the first one just for the sake of keeping the film going, but I'm sure they won't.
Well, I have faith because Christopher Landon directed the sequel as well, and he wrote all the Paranormal Activity sequels, so he knows how to keep a franchise going. And look at Final Destination. Did you ever think that there could be a sequel or a part 3 or a part 4? They figured out ways to tie threads into sequels, so you never know. Maybe this could have a really great part 2 and an excellent part 3, or a failure part 3 that we all ignore and pretend didn't happen. Then there's a part 4. You know, there's always that one sequel that everyone ignores as a franchise gets above 4 movies.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be that franchisey?
I don't know. It depends on how good part 2 is, because if they
I'd have to check
money.
Yeah. I didn't check the financials. I didn't see how well the first one did, but it couldn't have been that expensive to make either.
I don't think I want there to be more than 2.
I think 2 is probably the limit of, like, good Happy Death Days.
Yeah.
But
I do like how it looks like they're playing on part 1. Not to do any spoilers, but if you watch the trailer for part 2, you're pretty much going to know how part 1 ended.
Oh, completely. I don't want to talk too much about 2, but that trailer has brought up so many questions. Like, are all 3 in this time thing now? Like, I don't even want to talk about it, but there are so many things that I'm curious about that I need 2 to answer.
And that's the mark, actually, of a good trailer, because it leaves you with questions. Like we talked about earlier.
Yeah. And this trailer wasn't actually as bad as most trailers. Granted, it gave away the entire first film, but it really told us only what we needed to know about the second film. So it did pretty well there.
It made me want to watch the movie.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it didn't show the final scene, which is my least favorite thing.
Did you notice when Tree got arrested that he didn't read her Miranda rights?
Oh, I don't know if he really got a chance to.
Oh, no, he wasn't even trying. He was like he was putting her in the car. Like, he put the handcuffs on, then he put her in the car, and, like, then the car hit him. But he would have been reading her Miranda rights outside, right?
I don't know how that works. I don't know if there's a time limit. Because I've definitely been cuffed and not Mirandized.
It would be funny, though, if he got hit in the middle of the Miranda rights.
Yeah, that would have been pretty funny.
So, what do you think the tagline for this film should be?
This is a hard one because it's in the title. Happy Death Day to You is a great tagline, but it's the movie.
I feel like it's missing something. So let's workshop this a little. And by workshop, I mean refer to the one thing I'm about to say. I think the real tagline of this film, and possibly the sequel should be when we see it, is "Damn that baby."
It's pretty good. Or how many candles can Tree blow out? I don't know. I got nothing.
I do love, though, that the fire scene when the baby started that fire, that instead of a cigarette, like the typical, like, flip into the
candle. Yes. Yeah, that was dope.
That was also a clue, but no spoilers.
Oh, yeah, it was a clue.
Yeah. Now, to that petition girl, I don't think I've ever seen a real petition. That was a little unbelievable.
Really? Did you go to a state college?
Well, I went to Texas State, yeah. I've never seen a petition.
Holy shit, dude, that's so weird. Yeah, I don't know. There were petitions all over the place in my college because I'd always go off about how pointless they were to anybody trying to get me to sign them. Then I'd inevitably sign them just in case, but I would make sure everybody involved knew how useless I felt the gesture was.
Well,
nobody looks at petitions. Nobody gives a shit about petitions.
Maybe, like, Texas is just, like, as a sort of anti-union state, is also, like, not a conducive atmosphere for pointless petitions.
Maybe.
I don't know, I just never...
I mean, I'm sure, like a college in Austin would probably have more petitions.
Not in San Marcos, right outside of Austin.
That's not inside Austin, is it?
What I loved about this, well, I loved many things about this movie, but I also loved that it was, in a way, it was kind of light, fun popcorn horror.
Oh, definitely. It's what that Netflix movie, The Babysitter, wanted to be, if it wasn't so mediocre, I think.
Horror nerds are so, like Like rom-com
Well, to be
lovers
fair-
can love all rom-coms. Horror fans have rules.
To be fair, I tend to put myself above most things. I'm just that kind of narcissist.
So the sorority sister who drank the chocolate milk, did you notice how disgustingly chocolatey that milk was?
Oh, I did, and how it was like chocolate syrup that flowed like milk. It stained like chocolate syrup, but it flowed like milk.
No one uses
I hated
that
everything
much.
about it.
No
Yeah.
one. And I can see why
I
they'd be
was not a
concerned
fan
about
of
her
that.
weight if she was basically drinking a bottle of syrup every morning.
Yeah, but still, that's like, and that really happens too. I hung out with this sorority girl for a while a few years back, and she was telling me that like they will straight up just be like, you're fat, you should stop doing this, those pants look terrible on you, you should never wear them again. Like, that stuff actually really truly happens, and that's insane to me that people can be that horrible to one another under the guise of sisterhood and like looking out for one another.
They said that to you?
No.
Oh, well.
No. I mean, the girl I hung out with from the sorority, like, they said that to her and she said that to other people.
Well, you've never met my grandmother.
Well, yeah.
No, she says
My
that.
my grandma used to say stuff like that too. But she was actually like, it came from a place of genuine concern when my grandmother would say it to people.
Oh, not mine.
Unless, I mean, sometimes she was just straight up making fun of people. If she said stuff about me, it was out of concern. Other family members, she was just straight up making fun of them, though.
I will say this, aside from sororities, though, there are a lot of people out there who think that it's their place to tell other people about their weight that they're fully aware of already. So that's not an unusual behavior.
No, not at all. So, listeners, it is not your place to tell people about their weight unless they ask you first.
And maybe you need to start kind of looking at what you're eating, guys.
And don't wear those pants anymore. They make us fat, guys. Well, that went downhill quick.
As it often does. But no, I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed Happy Death Day, because I was just trying to find something good for the new year, and I watched this. It didn't really have anything to do with New Year's, but it was good.
Mm-hmm. Well, neither of our movies had anything to do about New Year's.
Yours did.
No, it didn't. They were both...
They were trapped in a time warp on New Year's Day.
Yeah. They weren't. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was more about time than it was New Year's.
It was still set on New Year's.
No, it wasn't. It took place in July.
But the time warp was in New Year's.
But it was actually July.
It doesn't matter because it was all the time warp that the story...
There's only snow in one scene, Maddie.
There's no snow in Texas during January.
Of course not. It's southern.
You're like, they're in England.
Are we moving on, or are you just giving me shit early?
I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about Happy Death Day?
Not anything other than the fact that I absolutely loved it, and I want to be Tree's best friend.
Yeah, because it's such a new movie, it came out in 2017, I don't have a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff to say about it, but I just really enjoyed it. It was good.
I thought that the sequel had already come out, but it doesn't come out until Valentine's Day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which is hilarious marketing to me.
I guess we'll have something to talk about soon.
Which is Bloody New Year.
Yep.
Oh, this trailer is so full of lies.
It is.
It started
They quick cut every remotely action-looking scene.
Fun and pleasure.
Right.
Camera's moving, let's show a shot of that.
But for Rick and his friends, the fun ended early when they landed on
And let's cut out all the background crap that actually makes the scene bad.
The Nightmare on Elm Street, rip-off bits are ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Face a horrifying and bloody new year. Attacked by the dead.
Oh no, there's a net on me.
How do people get stuck in nets so often?
Terrorized by monsters.
Off-topic net story that we're going to talk about because it fits in after this.
That song is so not good.
No. It's like it's like that whole 80s movement where they tried to emulate 50s music. That's what that was.
Or like Dirty Dancing, where Time of My Life completely destroyed.
Oh, same thing. Yeah, same.
Oh my gosh, that cheesy bird thing on the stairs.
The demon banister.
Flashback, man.
Dead or alive, they are locked in time forever.
You notice how the trailer's just basically showing them running the whole time?
Trapped in the hotel of horror. They can check out anytime, but they can never leave.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. And I'm pretty sure that's a ripoff of another tagline.
Yeah. Maybe a popular Eagles song?
Oh, yeah, or that.
In a bloody new year.
How dare they reference the Eagles for a movie like this?
In the most blatant way possible, too. So, before we start, I would like to discuss netting. So, I worked for a children's theater for a bunch of years, and my Facebook husband, he was the designer, the scenic designer and the costume designer for a lot of that. He's a great designer. Good job, Dan. You're not listening, but I miss you.
I feel like I need to pose the question real quick. Facebook husband?
Yeah, we're married on Facebook. We have been it's the longest relationship I've ever been in. It's been like 15 years or 12 years, something like that. We had to go get fabrics. We decided to go to this discount place in Altoona, PA. So we drove out there, had a really awkward lunch at Hooters, which is a story for another time.
I'm picturing you with that nice scarf now and leotards.
No. I was the builder, not the designer.
We went fabric shopping, and then we had a nice lunch.
It's true. Well, it was an awkward lunch, not a nice lunch. We got 50 foot of black netting that was, I think, 10 foot wide, something like that. Not because we needed it, because it was only $10. So we bought that. We brought the netting home, put all the fabric in the house. He lived with me at the time as well. And then we laid the netting out in the yard, and we rolled around in it for a good 2 hours. It was like we rolled around for a while, and then we'd like roll around till we got like near each other, and then we'd bro out and like have like serious talks about our lives and stuff. It was a really fun night.
Oh
my point is not once during this coming of age tale about me and Dan and the net did we ever actually get stuck, because that's not how nets work. But that's how nets work in every movie that's ever had a net in it. It's ridiculous. That's nets. Let's get this going. My movie, Bloody New Year. This movie sucks. Up first thing, this movie sucks. We open on, I guess, some kind of home movies from a lame party in a hotel in the 50s with a bunch of dumb skirts and bad outfits, and they're dancing and having what passes for fun back then, I guess. And then all of a sudden everybody's sitting around bored or maybe drunk, but I can't really tell because they're British. And there's a lot of that, and I'll cover that in a minute.
There's a lot of British in this movie.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they do this super boring version of the already boring Locomotion, and I hate my life. And they leave this lady behind, and she gets pulled through a mirror, and the actual movie starts. Hooray. That's how we open on this film.
There are ways, I've just got to mention this real quick, there are ways to record a carnival and a fair to make it actually look fun. Lost Boys did that quite wonderfully. I have never been so bored by seeing the attractions at a theme park as I was for the first 30 seconds of this film.
Yeah, these people, and I'm going to get to my problem with low-budget British movies later, and it's sort of...
British specifically.
With that as well. Yeah, British specifically. But yeah, that's the lamest fun fair, they keep calling it. The fun fair. Oh. It's the lamest fun fair ever. So, but before the fun fair, our heroes are on some beach having fun as some dumbass zips around on a dirt bike. But it's not about him, so we're going to keep going. And they all decide to go to the fun fair. Not all of them. The main dude decides to go to the fun fair. The one guy, the fifth wheel, the one guy without a girlfriend.
Mr. Pastel Sweater.
Yeah, Mr. Pastel Sweat. I didn't name these people. That's how much I hated this movie. I named some of the monsters, but we'll get to that. So they all follow Mr. Pastel to the fun fair. And since Britain is apparently a lawless society full of terrible people, they stumble upon an American girl being harassed on some kind of tilt-a-whirl thing by psychic carnies. And I'll explain how I know they're psychic a little bit later. But they chase our heroes through the park. They play catch. Our heroes play catch with the ride's fuse, because that's how they stopped the whole thing. As the other girls in the party are at a fortune teller at this point. And then the fortune teller screams like an idiot, and we're back into this chase. All of a sudden, again, British must have been a lawless society, because they drive their car through the park, which also has a boat attached to a trailer to it. It's very British chaos, though. It's chaos, but it's British chaos, because they're driving very slowly and they're being relatively cautious of the people around them. Not necessarily the stuff, but the people.
Why do thugs always fly off of cars into conveniently placed piles of boxes? Every single one of them.
Well, I think that's so they don't die in real life, Maddie.
They made it a point to show all of them flying off onto piles of boxes.
I think it's the only choice for the action in the film. I'm sure those guys are just dudes they hired off the street, and like that was the safest thing they could. This is not an IATSE film. This they did not follow OSHA rules for sure. So all these psychic carnies have matching weapons, and at this point they brandish them, and our heroes duck into a haunted house.
Oh gosh, that simultaneous switchblade action was so ridiculous.
They're not even switchblades. They're like whirly chain brass knuckle things. I don't even know what those were.
But all at the same time, it was just like they were getting ready for West Side Story.
I was just going to say, it was West Side Story. So some more nonsense happens, and their friend drives the car through not only a wall of the haunted house, but the entire haunted house, in one and out the other. So 2 walls. The carnies fall off this car, and they fall off the boat. Our heroes are saved, and so they go sailing, because that's exactly what you do after you've destroyed a fun fair, been chased around by carnies, and generally caused mad chaos under the Queen's law.
So when the music started swelling when they were on the boat and things got dramatic, I thought I'd like to imagine that the day-to-day activities for these teenagers always turn dramatic, whether they're sailing or opening a pickle jar, and everyone eventually starts screaming.
What an awkward, and again, it's British, so everything has to be a little bit awkward, but what an awkward turn of events to go from, oh, there's a hole in the boat, let's get it back to shore, we're good, to, oh my god, we're all drowning.
Yeah.
Did you catch that? Like, it was at first pish posh, we're almost to shore, to like, oh, we're all gonna die.
I think I was still reeling from how bad the American girl's accent was. That chick is totally not American.
See, I like to think she was just such a bad actress that she couldn't even get her own country's accent right. All right, so yeah, their boat sinks. They get stuck on some island, and there are ghosts or demons there because of some kind of time science gone wrong. This is our New Year's episode. I'm going to say it again because it's not really our New Year's episode, so I have to keep telling you it is so you guys believe it. So this place is decorated for Christmas, and it's taking place in June. Nothing is right with the world.
You don't leave your Christmas decorations up until the New Year's over? Oh, that's ridiculous. You don't use
decorate. Exactly. My mom might, but I never go into the living room, so I don't know. There's a little bit of dialogue here. I'm going to spare you. It's dumb. It does nothing for the plot. They're all wet, so they all go find clothes in this hotel, and all the clothes are from the 50s. Why could that be? They get dry. Some of them are drinking brandy. Again, British. Why is it brandy? Ugh.
Well, because they like brandy in England.
I know. I should say that I think British people are lovely people. I just think they're awkward and very boring sometimes.
Claret, brandy, the occasional port.
That's super dull. I fell asleep while you were saying that. Like for 2 seconds, I fell asleep. Gin's good. In their adventures to find dry clothes, they start seeing obviously ghostly stuff, but completely ignore it and write it off. And this is why they all deserve to die. They're idiots, and I'm disappointed in them. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed, like a dad who really wants to hurt his kid's feelings. That's how I feel about this movie.
I just don't even understand. at least with the trash bag man, wouldn't you get out at that point?
Oh, the trash bag man. I've got a paragraph dedicated to him shortly. We'll get back to him. But, oh, that drives me crazy. Let's revisit trash bag man in a moment. So we find out a little bit later that the murderous ghost demons were there when the British government did some kind of Philadelphia experiment sciencey stuff involving time and invisible ships and trapped them in this state of undeath forever. They were
New Year's Day, 1959.
Yeah, New Year's Day, 1959. Whatever. It was about to turn 60. So 1960. So I don't care. I don't care. This could have been any day. I don't care. I'm sorry, this movie makes me really mad. So then they decide to go watch a movie, which actually looks more interesting than the movie we're actually watching. There's this little brain scooting around on the floor. But of course, they're bored.
I said the exact same thing.
Yeah. So one of in fact, Mr. Pastel goes and tells some boring British jokes next to the screen about hula hooping and does all this dumb hula hoop pelvic thrusting until he's killed by a racist caricature of a Middle Eastern man. That's how he dies. He gets his scratch faced by a poor representation of a Middle Eastern man. Just a face scratch. He's dead.
Yeah, I can't even, allude to that being a historical costume thing, because that was more popular in the 1920s than the 1950s.
No, it was bad.
Yeah.
So everybody freaks out and they split up because that's the kind of movie this is. There's no logic, intelligence, decent writing, nothing. They just split up. Everybody goes their own way. One of them gets attacked by a rope and some netting, which is why I told that net story in the first place. Because nobody can get stuck in a net like that. And she's stuck in this net, and her boyfriend starts hitting it with an axe, and then all of a sudden the net starts making sex noises. Did you catch that?
Maybe she's a cold fish.
What the hell? It was so weird.
Well, that and some camera shots made me think that maybe, just maybe, that was an Evil Dead reference or theft. In fact, I have a note here that says, ever think to yourself, those flying camera shots in Evil Dead were way too good. Let's tone them down a bit and play some bad drum synth music with a little bit of warped studio audience laughter.
I have a joke about the drums coming up, and I also have a joke about ripping off other movies coming up. So we're really in sync on this one. I'm impressed. And then all of a sudden they get attacked by a slime demon, which we've dubbed the garbage bag demon, that turns into a table or some kind of box with a blanket over it.
Yeah,
what the hell?
All I can think is that the director said, "Here, Harold, put a trash bag on yourself and make growling noises. Don't worry, kids love this sort of thing. It's scary."
Yeah, and then what do we do after it dies? Well, how do we deal? Oh, well, let's just turn it into a table.
Tables are nice. We can set some tea on it.
To a table. Oh God. All right, I'm done summarizing for a bit. We're just gonna spit out some stuff that happens now.
So much stuff happens.
Yes, and so much dumb stuff. So at one point, bushes shake as a laugh track plays.
The worst laugh track ever. Not even disturbing.
The worst bush shake ever. It's obviously some production assistant back here I'm surprised we couldn't see him. I am surprised that wasn't in the final cut. There's a chase scene to a drum beat that sounds like it was made by Duran Duran if they were a Duran Duran cover band.
That thing might have been better, actually, if it was Rio playing.
Oh, it would have been 100%. I would like this movie if they did this entire chase scene to Rio, because that is an amazing song, and it actually fits pretty well.
The opening song actually kind of upset me because it was so quirky and cute, and I thought, I'm in for a funny film. No.
That's how I felt, too, and that's the one good thing I say about this movie later, is I did like a lot of the music, and it was mostly original, with the exception of the Duran Duran chase drums. I didn't like that. The footprints appear and disappear in the sand. Yeah, it's spooky, except it's done really poorly and it's dumb. It's just laughable. Mm-hmm. They hear a plane crash and see an explosion because this movie cannot afford to crash an actual plane. They did obviously afford to junkyard a few pieces of plane for set decoration, though, which is good. Around this time, we meet the ghost pilot, who may be involved in one of the only two cool things in this movie that I will get to. The American at this point is running around following the ghost maid, and all of a sudden she opens the door to a severe snowstorm with thunder and lightning, and then it stops, and she's in the room again in June or July. A dude almost falls out of the door that leads to a cliff. Why do old hotels and old mansions on cliffs always have that one door that leads to the cliff and is the most dangerous door in the world? Did they all just have balconies that fell down at one point?
I'm not sure. You know, I like to think maybe it's an allusion to Winchester Mansion.
Maybe. I feel like you're reaching for intelligence where there is none. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I appreciate that about you, but I think, you're way off. I think it's just dumb. So yeah, that happens. And here's why the Carnies are psychic. The Carnies are back with their matching weapons for no reason other than Carnies must be a magical bunch. They can read your mind. They know where you go after you sink your boat in a random body of water, probably far away from the funfair that you just destroyed. They can find you on this unnamed island you crashed near, but they can't hurt you if your friend is secretly a ghost. And they also carry dumb whirly chains that match each other's whirly chains.
Well, to be fair, that is why several of your Carney friends are on the America's Most Wanted list.
That's probably a valid point. Plot twist, one of our heroes is secretly a ghost demon, the one who got wrapped up in the stupid net. She kills one of the Carney, which is actually an okay scene. This is not one of the two scenes I love, but this is a pretty good scene. The Carney goes to punch her, and he punches straight through her, and then she goes demon and like tosses him against the wall and kills him. Mm-hmm. But then one of our heroes throws a net at her, and it actually like starts to burn her skin. Like she all of a sudden has a weakness for nets.
Maybe.
I'm super excited to hear how you justify this.
Maybe by the power of the pure holiness of the Queen of England, when he threw the net, I have no idea. I have no idea.
What I like about it is that you tried, Maddie. Then a girl nearly gets eaten by the ground. This is important later. They make their way back to the hotel and half-ass barricade themselves in, which is super dumb because they know all those demons are in there.
Yeah, let's be honest. This group, really? This group?
Yeah. But I don't blame them. I blame the people who wrote this movie. It's their fault. Sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying they're good actors or anything, but they were given nothing to work with. They were given the most pedestrian nonsense plot to deal with. So they had no choice but to look stupid.
To be fair, it was conceived and developed over the course of 7 days.
Unsurprising. Was this some kind of workshop?
The director was told to make a movie with a big plot, I think, and he did it. He Cormaned it.
Yeah, see, nobody should be allowed to Corman stuff except for Corman.
Yeah, Corman knows how to Corman.
Exactly. As well he should.
I mean, Little Shop took a weekend to write and 2 days to film. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the secret net demon kills another Carney, and this is one of the two things I loved about this movie, not counting the music. One of the two deaths, I guess I should say. The net demon takes this Carney's head and slowly twists it around like 3 times.
And it's so obvious that the guy is just spinning. It doesn't even look.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm totally okay with that because it was super fun. Like, I really like that scene. But it immediately destroys any happiness I felt because the snake banister puppet attacks another girl.
God, that puppet.
Yeah.
It looked as bad as Turkey.
Mm-hmm. It was, yeah, but Turkey was supposed to look bad. Yeah. I love how much Turkey's coming up lately. I think Turkey's our new Scott Valentine.
Scott Valentine versus Turkey. Go.
Scott Valentine.
Oh, okay.
Power of love, Maddie. Power of love. So yeah, this banister puppet is attacking a girl. The secret net demon is laughing. And all of a sudden, one of our heroes has a double-barrel shotgun. And he shoots her, and she reacts to these gunshots in the most awkward fashion I've ever seen. The first shot makes her stomach do this weird fart thing, like this weird bubble fart out of the front of her stomach. And then the second shot, she doesn't react until she does, and then falls over.
So I actually have a theory about that, because I was thinking about that exact same thing when I saw it, and I thought, oh, that's bad.
Lay it on me, sister. I'm so curious as to why this happened.
Okay, so when a director says action for a shot, there's a few seconds wait before they start moving, just to be sure that the camera's rolling properly and it makes for easier cutting. But if they did the effect, like maybe a couple seconds too soon before she could properly react after action, then they didn't have enough time for her to react in the moment and still show the effect. And they had to make the choice, either show her acting properly or show the full clip with the whole effect.
I got you. So you think they did that whole thing right there. You think they did blanks in the gun, her reaction.
Yeah, I think they had the timing off. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awful though. Oh, it was so bad. And then they beat the banister to death, and the banister resets because time.
Yeah, of course.
Two of our heroes find a camp. It's obviously where the airplane that was testing this Philadelphia experiment time science-y thing crashed. They go to investigate it, and the ghost pilot appears, which leads us to the second thing I liked in this movie. They hit him so hard in the head that it just explodes into this pink dust. It was so great. I've watched it 3 times now, and I'm still laughing thinking about it. I suppose great isn't the right word. Really poorly done and hilarious for all the wrong reasons. I guess is a better way to explain that.
I think they were all trying hard with the effects they had.
I think so too, and that's the worst thing. This is why, like, bad direction, bad editing, and a bad script just can ruin the heart everyone else is putting into something. Because I think that a lot of these people, this is probably the first thing they ever did, and they were definitely, if not invested in it, they were excited to be involved in it, and it's just crap, and I feel bad for all of them.
Well, go back to what I said about the carnival scene. There's ways to shoot a carnival scene and make it look actively entertaining. I'm thinking about maybe the way the scriptwriter wrote it, he pictured something really cool, like, okay, an active roller coaster, thugs terrorizing people on a carousel as it twirls around. If Tarantino had been in the direction chair, he could have made some good shots with just that.
True.
So who's to say it was bad writing entirely? But the writing,
if you had to give it like a percentage, if you had to put a number, a percentage onto how much better this movie would be if the carnival scene had a sweaty dude in purple pants playing the saxophone, what would you like 70% better?
Oh, at least 85.
Okay, yeah, I'll go with that too. I agree. So at this point, I'm not done talking about the movie, but I'm done with the movie. I'm talking about my first watch through. Like, I am over it. Like, I'm zoning out. I'm drinking way more whiskey than I should be to properly review a film. So this gets a little, I mean, it's what I do. You guys have heard it before. Some stuff happens in reverse. Another friend is a secret demon. They find a boat. A girl gets pulled into an elevator wall, which is, you're right, that is a total Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff.
My God.
And that's the other thing. Normally I love it when they use that whole, like, latex wall person coming out of the thing. But it looks so bad in this because they obviously put the latex up and painted it. So when they were pushing through it, it was cracking and showing the actual – it was just so terrible.
Yeah. And they showed it too long. The trick with that is to keep the shots short so it looks more impressive.
Yeah. And they even screwed up that final, like, shot of her boyfriend watching her fade into the wall. That didn't even work out well. It's just awful. So at this point, 2 of our heroes almost get away, but one goes back for this girl that he watched get sucked into an elevator wall. And he knows everybody's a secret demon. So he should have known at this point, no matter how much love he had for a girl, that this was a lie. So he goes back and the beach eats him. And then the sea eats the American girl. And everybody's dead. But It seems like a fun kind of dead because they're all at a party now, dancing and having fun, except for the American.
Yeah.
Stuck in a mirror for some reason, and I can't help but think that's some sort of metaphor, and the British are being jerks.
I think so. They are all really happy that she was trapped in this mirror.
Yeah.
What was the point of saving her at the beginning of the movie if you were going to trap her in some death dimension for all eternity in 1959?
I mean, it could be a metaphor too. The British people are like, look at how much fun we're having with our tea and stout and Piccadilly Circus, while the Americans just sit across the pond and watch. You know, it could be a metaphor for that too.
I feel like you're doing what I usually do, and you're trying to read some intelligence where there is none.
Which is weird, because that's not what I do. So I don't know how, I touched on this a little bit, but why is it that people in bad British movies and TV shows always look confused about everything? Like, I'm sure they're going for fear, being that this is a horror movie, but they all just always look so confused, and a lot of the times just bored.
Well, it is a confusing and boring movie.
Yeah, well, you're reading my mind again there, friend, which I can understand, because I would be bored if I was trapped in this movie as well.
Yeah, maybe.
Is my next note.
Maybe they're confused because they just listened to the director's advice before they started filming.
Yeah, that could be it. I don't hate the music. It's got that whole sort of vanilla 50s good kid rock and roll thing going for it. It's got just enough edge to be considered rock and roll, but it's like your mom would let you listen to it in the car on the way home from church, you know?
I listen to Creep with my mom on the radio, so.
Well, your mom's cool. Not all moms are cool. And yeah, apparently all this music was written for the movie. So that guy probably made dozens of dollars, Maddie.
Oh,
dozens.
Man. I can only imagine.
Yeah. And my final thought here was this really felt like somebody, or maybe a lot of them, sat down and watched Argento's Demons and thought to themselves,
I can do that.
Hey, I could make a crappier version of this. And, like, they really wanted to ride that train, but it derails before it even leaves the station. That's awful.
The monsters in this movie made the monsters in Saturday the 14th look like Tom Savini had designed them.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Oh, it was awful. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, this definitely sort of followed the same rules as Demons did.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
just poorly.
But even though it's a terrible movie, I'm really glad I watched it.
I mean, I guess I am, if for no other reason than I can tell all of you, dear listeners, to please avoid this movie at all costs. In fact, if I find out any of you watched this movie and enjoyed it, I will never be your friend. If we know each other now, I won't be your friend anymore. And if we haven't met yet, and if we ever do, and you're like, oh man, I loved Bloody New Year, I will state that I will not be your friend right there in a very stern manner.
However, if you do tell him that you love Dream a Little Dream.
Oh, yeah, that'll even it out. In fact, that might push you into, like, good friend status.
You will be my enemy, but.
Well, some of us just have taste, I guess.
Well, if you want to check out our blog, you can find us at Hallow-Holic.blogspot.
Please segues, Maddie.
You can find us at Hallow-Holic.blogspot.com or Hallow-Holic.wordpress.com.
If you would like to send us a Twitter, which I have been woefully ignoring lately, I apologize. I know nobody has tweeted at us, but if you would like to, I will be paying attention to it again. Please do. Send us movies you would like us to talk about, reasons why I'm a terrible person, reason why Maddie's super smart. It's up to you. Just send us something.
Or even email us at Hallow-Holics@outlook.com. We're listening.
Or you can Podpedia us. That came out weird. You can Podpedia us at Podpedia.com.
If you're going to Podpedia someone, just Podpedia Corey, please.
All right. I feel like you just pimped me out to weirdos.
I feel like you just called our listeners weirdos.
They are weirdos because they're listening to us. Our portal on Podpedia is HHA. You can track us down there. They make us say that and all sorts of other things like that. Thank you for listening.
Hey, that sounds like a knock at the door. Oh my god, it's an axe murderer!
Oh, I'm so tired of this.
I feel like it's time to...
Oh, God. Oh, not again. The worst thing about this day is I keep waking up in this dumpster.